Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Can we talk with Monique? I am Monique. Thank you so much for joining me today. And please don't forget, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and hit that little bell. That way you're notified of all my upcoming podcasts. And that also lets YouTube know that you are interested in what I have to say. All right, guys. So this is really important and pertinent to the situation that we're going through throughout the world. But this particular upload is, like I said, I think really important. How to deal with a toxic or narcissistic person if you have to quarantine with them. Right? So we know everybody, some countries are under quarantine, mandatory quarantine, where you have to stay indoors. And in the US, where I'm at and where many of you may be at, you may have to quarantine. We haven't gotten that notification. We're doing what they call social distancing, working from home, trying to stay from around people as much as possible, minimum of 6 feet. But what happens if you have to quarantine, mandatory quarantine, and just stay indoors? So, and how to deal with a toxic person if you live with them, or if you're married to someone like that, and to be indoors mandatory, right? So let's talk about that, because that's something that can potentially happen. So a lot of narcissists, not all of them, but many of them, have multiple sources of supply. If it's a man, he may have multiple sources, a harem of women, and vice versa. And so if this is a mandatory quarantine, first and foremost, if you have to quarantine with a toxic person or narcissist, the first thing you have to do is pray. Yes, let's say a prayer, because you're going to need everything to get through that situation. And it's not taking it lightly or joking. It's absolutely true. You're going to need some supernatural something to deal with one of those entities. Okay. So after you finish praying, you have to have a plan, because definitely narcissists are always plotting and scheming. And like I said in my other video, they will take a situation, an unfortunate situation like a pandemic, or something of that nature, and, utilize that in some strange, facetious way. Right. And so if you are in a household with an individual like this, you have to plan and pre-plan what you're going to do and how you're going to deal with this person. And we have to go back to basics with these individuals, because that they need attention, they need a source of supply, they want to, elicit responses from you and reactions and emotions. So and this is going to take a lot of self-control on your behalf. And you just want, one of the techniques to use is the gray rock technique. A rock is just boring. It just sits there, doesn't really do anything. It doesn't get excited. It's just blah, right? No emotion. So learning gray rock with this person, just being silent, this may, take a lot of self-control. A lot of narcissists will try to elicit, after a while of doing gray rock, they may just get upset and elicit you to try to argue or say something to push your buttons, because they know how to push your buttons, right? They know what buttons to kind of push to make you upset. And you're going to have to exert, just a lot of self-control during this time, so that way you don't get into an argument. Because if you can't go no contact with them, you have to be in the household with them for this time. You have to use logic and think. You have to use those critical thinking skills. So one way is just to go gray rock, silent. If you have a big house and they like to be in their man cave, just leave them alone. Let them do what they have to do. But once they may get bored. They get bored easily sometimes, and they may come bother you. And that's when you gray rock them, get you some puzzles, a book, read your Bible, clean the house, say, oh, look, is it a bird? Oh, find anything that you need to do just to kind of to keep your sanity, right? Just be very boring, just very, very quiet, just silent, no real facial expressions like, oh, I see. That's nice. Oh, okay. Um, okay. Those type of answers. Don't talk too much about any one thing that you're interested in. Use your phone, read your books, do some puzzles, do a search a word, do crossword puzzles online, clean the house again, do whatever you need to do just so that way you don't have to interact too much with this person. But don't talk too much about things you're interested in. But like I said, after a while, these people get so bored and they can't run amok, with their hiring. They may just, rules don't apply to them. So they may just run out in the street and go against the rules. You don't know, because this is something that has never happened before, in not here in the US. So these individuals may want to go run out in the street and may end up getting handcuffed, by the National Guard. Who knows? I don't know, but these are the type of people that they are. Rules don't apply to them. They like to push boundaries. So let them, if they want to go run out in the street and catch the coronavirus, then let them go. It might be good for you that they just go. But you have to plan with these individuals. Their minds are just so twisted, and they're always trying to scheme and plan. The other thing, if you know that this person is a violent individual and that they can't stay still for so long, you may just have to maybe call one of those the national hotline for abuse and maybe try to go to a shelter. It may be better off just getting away from this person for that amount of time, because if you can't be in a house with a person for more than a day or two without them arguing or fighting or hitting you, it may be best for you to just pack some stuff quietly when they don't know, before this quarantine takes place, and go to one of those shelters, because it just won't be a good situation. And the bottom line, staying sheltered in place, is to try to keep you and your family safe from being infected with anything. And if it's not going to work, then you may just have to either go stay with family members or call one of those shelters. I mean, unfortunately, that's the situation for some people. But if you know yourself, you know who you're living with, if this person is violent, if they're abusive in that type of way, and you know that after a week, they go right back to the same thing of hitting you or doing things like that or being violent, it may be best to plan to get out of there before we get quarantined and locked down, and maybe find one of those shelters to go stay at. But if this person is just the typical nonviolent, just one of those messy, kerfuffle type people who, just kind of pluck your nerves and does all type of foolishness, you may just have to gray rock them. Just be boring as a gray rock. Sit there, no facial expression, no inflections in your voice, no real reactions. Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Really? Oh, okay. I see. You may have to use verbiage like that, but don't do a whole bunch of talking. It may be hard, but maintain your composure. Just maintain your composure. Be silent and use your self-control. And if they start trying to press buttons, don't even react to it. But there, if the person is a rageful person, then you might just have to back down and adjust your behavior that way. But, in a lockdown situation where if it's the type of person that has, every Friday night or every night they're late coming in, or they're running around with their, third, fourth, second supply, it's going to be very hard for them to sit still. So they may just even break, like I said, leave the house and get their behinds picked up by the National Guard or the police, by the popo, then let their behinds go. It might be good for you, because that, like I said, rules don't apply to them. They don't like to follow rules or have boundaries. So these fools, they want to get in a kerfuffle. They want to cause confusion and start some mess. And you're just going to have to keep your composure. So show self-control. If you have children, play with the kids. But they might get jealous that you're even playing with the kids. But you know what? Let them go on and do what they have to do. And they may just break boundaries and go out and, become infected with something and bring it back home. This is the type of people that they are. So do whatever you can not to get into any type of confrontation with them, any argument. Even if they press your buttons, stay silent. show a lot of self-control, don't have a lot of reactions, just kind of be boring. And this is to keep your sanity and so you can be safe, right? Because who knows if we do go on a quarantine, who knows how long they have been on quarantine in Wuhan. I think it was well over 40 days, and I think they're still in quarantine in some places. And that's a long time, right? These people will stress you out. And, my thing is, if you don't have to be in, be looking out at the news, because if they live someplace else, don't let them get caught at your house. If they have their own apartment, don't let them get caught at your house when they call that curfew for lockdown. So send them on back to their house and let them go where they need to go. So if the lockdown come, they at their house and you're at your house. And but these are the things that we have to think about. These are unprecedented and uncharted waters. So a lot of us who are on these platforms learning about narcissism, learning about narcissistic personality disorder, learning about the different spectrums and the behavior, getting quarantined and locked in place with these people, this is like unprecedented. You can't move about, you can't get away, and it can be a really tough situation. So start thinking about what you can do. These are some of the methods that I think may be appropriate. If it's a violent situation and this person, starts to drink and get violent, you may just need to, safely and secretly call a abuse hotline, and it's down there in my description box, and try to get away and be quarantined somewhere else. Your safety is more important. But if it's a person that, you've lived with and this person is not violent, just learn some of these techniques, just to keep, the situation safe and to get through it. But you always have to think ahead of time, because these people have nothing else to do but to think and to try to pick, poke, prod, and they always like to get reactions from us. So don't be surprised if you're locked in place with a manipulator and they're constantly ridiculing you or saying something to you. Just try to keep your composure and your sanity. But these folks, child, hope and pray, just hope and pray that they just, don't act a fool. But if they run out and, don't want to follow the rules, and they run out in the street, and they need to get to a new source of supply, and they get picked up by the Popo or the National Guard, your prayers will have been answered. Okay. So, and I'm not even being funny with it, but if they don't want to listen, and they don't want to follow the rules, and they get picked up, then that's on them. The other thing is, they may start, feigning illness, saying that they're sick, and becoming so dramatic. And it's like, nobody needs this at this time. But definitely learn that gray rock technique. Look in the mirror, look at your face, try to be as expressionless as you can, and practice it. And don't, and they'll see maybe they'll just get boring and just run out the house up the street. Who knows? Maybe they'll just be so bored and be like, I got to get out of here. I need supply, and let all the narcissists go run out in the street and do whatever. I'm sorry. I mean, we got to, we got to just sometimes get a laugh out of this, because like I said, this is unprecedented, uncharted territory, and these people need attention so bad. So if we all gray rocking them, ain't giving them no attention, they may just all run out the street and form a little community together, because we just have to just protect ourselves. But knowing some of these individuals, they gotta be the center of attention, and that everybody's focus is gonna be on the coronavirus, watching the TV. They're gonna lose their mind. They are definitely gonna either lose their mind and try to have you lose yours and pluck your nerves while you at it. While they losing their mind, they gonna pluck your nerves so you could lose your mind too. Because ain't nobody paying no attention to them. So they gotta be the center of attention. But anywho, these techniques, just think ahead. They use the same tactics, and we have to be sharp. This is our life. We gotta look. We gotta, train. You got to know your enemy. The one thing that, and it's unfortunate, they are our enemies. If they're not for you, they're definitely against you. You have to know your enemy. If you don't know who your enemy is, how can you formulate a plan to defeat them so they don't defeat you? You have to know what they're going to do. And they're plotting and scheming. They plotting and they're scheming. This is what they do all day long. And they don't stop. They never stop. They don't rest, guys. So if you got to be quarantined with one of these bad mama jammers, Lord have mercy. I'm going to pray for you. You pray for yourself. But after that, you better put a plan in action. You got to have a plan with these individuals. You can never go in, if they use their diabolicalness, if that's such a word, if they use their diabolicalness for good, mankind would be better off, but they don't. They use it to be diabolical. And they just don't want to do right, y'all. They just don't want to do right. So the people who they prey on, we got to get smart. That's why these channels are here, to bring awareness. But this is just, like I said, uncharted territory, guys. None of us have ever been quarantined, most of us, in days on end. Or, now you might be working home and both of y'all might be at home. It's like, oh my God, when there's been some distance, you can create distance. But now, things may change. And like I said, these narcissists, they need supply. They get bored easily. And if it's one of those narcissists that's just, willy-nilly running the street, coming home late every night, they are not going to be used to being at home. So they might just spend their time on the computer, on the internet, texting their sources of supply. But, depending on the type of narcissist they are, they may have to run the street. And if they want to run the street and it's a lockdown by the federal government, well, then let them go run the street, child. And let the popo pick them up. And let the National Guard or whoever's going to be out there, let them pick them up and let them figure it out. You just go ahead on and lock the door behind them and be like, see ya. Wouldn't want to be, don't even say nothing. Just let them go. Oh, I got to go get some Tylenol. Oh, I'm having a heart attack. Look, bye. All right. See you later. And let the National Guard pick them up and take them wherever they're going to take them. But seriously, we have to protect ourselves. We have to think ahead. We can never sit and wait for these people, because they're always trying to hit us at the left and the right and to try to come out of the blue. You gotta plan with these folks, especially under circumstances like this. If you're gonna be locked in place with somebody for over 30 days, you sure as hell better have a daggone plan. Okay. All right, y'all. So these are some of the techniques that you can utilize if you're going to be quarantined in place with a toxic person, a narcissist, or any one of them entities. All right, y'all, give me a thumbs up on this video. And like I said, remember to like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next episode of Can We Talk with Monique. Peace, y'all.